Hello and welcome back to the Slow English Podcast. I am your host, Jack. How are you doing today? I hope you have had your coffee. If not, go get some. I'll wait. Okay, are you ready? Good. Today we are going to talk about something very common. Something that happens in New York, in Tokyo, in London, and probably in your city too. We are going to talk about neighbors, specifically noisy neighbors. You know the type. The people who think 2 a.m. is the perfect time to fix their furniture, or the people who practice playing the drums badly. Today's story is about my friend Sarah. Sarah is a very calm person. She likes yoga. She drinks herbal tea. She never gets angry. Well, almost never. Last month, Sarah moved into a new apartment. She thought it was paradise. But then she met her neighbor, and her life turned into a comedy, or maybe a horror movie. In this episode, you will learn useful phrases for complaining politely, expressing anger, and solving conflicts. Listen carefully. I will speak slowly, so you can understand every word. Let's begin. The story begins on a Tuesday. Sarah moved into her new apartment on the 3rd floor. It was a beautiful apartment. It had big windows, a nice kitchen, and most importantly, it was quiet. At least she thought it was quiet. For the first 3 days, everything was perfect. Sarah unpacked her boxes. She arranged her books. She was happy. But then Friday night arrived. Friday night, the time to relax. Sarah put on her pajamas. She made a cup of hot chocolate. She was ready to sleep at 10 p.m. She closed her eyes. She took a deep breath. And then she heard it. Boom! 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 It was a bass sound, a deep, vibrating sound. It was coming from the apartment next door. Sarah thought, maybe they are just watching a movie. It will stop soon. So she waited. 10:30 p.m. Boom, boom, boom. 11 p.m. Boom, boom, boom. Midnight. The music got louder. Now she could hear the lyrics. It was heavy metal music. Imagine trying to sleep while someone is screaming in your ear. Not very relaxing, right? Sarah tried everything. She put a pillow over her head. She used earplugs. But the vibration came through the floor. The walls were shaking. Her teacup was shaking. She laid in bed staring at the ceiling, her eyes wide open. I asked Sarah about that night. I asked her, what was going through your mind at 1 a.m.? She sent me this audio recording. Listen to how frustrated she was.
Oh, Jack, it was a nightmare. Absolute nightmare. At first, I tried to be understanding. I told myself, okay, it is Friday. People want to have fun. But by 1 a.m., I was not understanding anymore. I was losing my mind. My heart was beating fast, not because I was scared, but because I was furious. I felt so helpless. You know that feeling? When you are so tired that you want to cry, but you are too angry to cry? I started imagining terrible things. I imagined going next door and breaking his stereo. I imagined cutting the electricity to the whole building. Of course, I didn't do those things. I just lay there, like a zombie. I kept looking at the clock. Tick, tock, tick, tock. Every minute felt like an hour. I realized that silence is the most expensive thing in the world. I would have paid $1 million for just 5 minutes of silence.
That sounds terrible, doesn't it? I would have paid $1 million for silence. That is a great sentence. So back to the story. Finally, at 2 a.m., the music stopped. Sarah slept for maybe 3 hours. The next morning, Sarah looked like a panda. She had dark circles under her eyes. She needed coffee, lots of coffee. She decided she had to do something. She could not live like this. She is usually a shy person. She hates conflict. She hates arguing. But a lack of sleep makes people brave. She walked out of her apartment. She marched to the door next door. Apartment 3B. She stood in front of the door. She raised her hand. She hesitated. Should I knock? She thought. Maybe he is a big, scary biker. Maybe he has an aggressive dog. But then she remembered the boom, boom, boom. She knocked. Knock, knock, knock. No answer. She knocked harder. Bang, bang, bang. Finally, the door opened. And guess what? It wasn't a scary biker. It was a guy. Just a normal guy. He was wearing a t-shirt with a cute cat on it. He looked sleepy. He was eating cereal. He looked at Sarah and said, hi, can I help you? This was the moment of truth. Sarah didn't just say, please be quiet. No, she had practiced her speech in the shower. She was ready. I asked her to repeat exactly what she said to him. Here is Sarah teaching us how to complain politely but firmly.
Hi, I am your neighbor from next door. Apartment 3A. Look, I don't want to be that neighbor. I don't want to complain. But last night, the music was incredibly loud. The walls in this building are very thin. They are like paper. When you play bass at 1 a.m., my whole apartment shakes. I have a job. I have to wake up at 7 a.m. Last night, I didn't sleep at all because of the noise. I understand you want to enjoy your music. That is fine. But we live in a community. We have to respect each other. If this happens again, I will have to call the landlord. And nobody wants that. So please, can we make a deal? No loud music after 10 p.m. Is that fair?
Wow. Is that fair? That is a powerful question. It is hard to say no to that question. So what did the neighbor do? Did he slam the door? Did he yell at her? No. He looked at Sarah. He looked at his cereal, and his face turned red. He was embarrassed. He said, "Oh my God, I am so sorry. I didn't know the walls were that thin. I got new speakers yesterday. I didn't realize it was that loud." He was actually nice. He was just oblivious. Oblivious means he didn't know what was happening around him. He wasn't mean. He was just clueless. He apologized 3 times. He even offered Sarah some of his cereal. She said no, obviously. But the good news is, since that day, he has been quiet. Sometimes he plays music, but he uses headphones. Sarah can finally sleep. She got her paradise back. And now when they see each other in the hallway, they smile. It's a happy ending. No police, no fighting, just honest communication. So the war ended. The music stopped. Peace returned to the building. You might think, that is perfect, Jack. Why is the story continuing? Well, sometimes when you solve one problem, you create a different one. Remember the neighbor? The guy with the cat t-shirt? His name is Mike. After the confrontation, Mike felt very guilty. He wanted to show Sarah that he is a good guy. So he started overcompensating. Overcompensating means trying too hard to fix a mistake and doing too much. Instead of a noisy neighbor, Sarah now has an aggressive friend. Listen to Sarah explain her new struggle.
Jack, be careful what you wish for. Seriously, silence is great. I love silence. But now, Mike wants to be my best friend. 2 days ago, I was leaving for work. I was in a hurry. Suddenly, Mike opened his door. He smiled like a game show host. He shouted, "Good morning, neighbor. Beautiful day, isn't it?" I said, "Yes. Hi, Mike." And I tried to run to the elevator. But he followed me. He started talking about the weather. Then he talked about his cat. Then he talked about his grandmother's cookie recipe. We were stuck in the elevator for 30 seconds, but it felt like 30 years. And yesterday? Yesterday was worse. He knocked on my door at 8 p.m. I was scared. I thought, is the loud music coming back? I opened the door, and there was Mike, holding a plate of zucchini bread. He said, "I made this for you," as an apology. It was sweet, really. But Jack, I hate zucchini, and the bread was burnt. Now, I have to hide when I leave my apartment. I check the hallway to make sure Mike isn't there. I traded a noisy neighbor for a chatty neighbor. I don't know which one is worse.
Oh, poor Sarah. She is hiding in her own home to avoid eating burnt zucchini bread. This is a classic example of small talk. Small talk is polite conversation about unimportant things like weather or food. Americans love small talk, but clearly Sarah just wants to go to work. See? Sometimes the monster next door is just a guy with new speakers and a cat t-shirt. Before we finish, let's look at some cool words from Sarah's story. Number 1, furious. Sarah said, "I was furious." This means very, very angry, not just mad, furious. Number 2, helpless. I felt helpless. This means you feel like you can't do anything to change the situation. You have no power. Number 3, confrontation. This is when you face a problem or a person directly. Sarah went to his door for a confrontation. And finally, is that fair? Use this phrase when you are negotiating. It makes the other person think about justice. That is our story for today. Do you have a noisy neighbor? How do you deal with them? Do you knock on the door, or do you suffer in silence? Next time, try Sarah's method. Be brave, but maybe don't threaten the landlord immediately. Thank you for listening to the Slow English Podcast. I'm Jack. Have a quiet night and sweet dreams. Goodbye.